You ever have that feeling where you know exactly what happened, you remember the words that were said, and you're 100% sure of your reality, but then someone looks you dead in the eyes and tells you that you're crazy? It's one of the most unsettling feelings in the world. It's like the floor beneath you just turned into liquid. This isn't just a misunderstanding, it's a high-level psychological tactic called gaslighting. If you want to be extra smart and keep your aura intact, you have to learn how to spot this before it rots your confidence from the inside out. Most people realize they're being manipulated when it's already too late, when they've already lost their main character energy and started acting like a side character in someone else's twisted game. I'm telling you this because the world is full of master manipulators who use these tricks to keep you off balance. If you don't learn the signs, you're basically walking into a mental trap every single day. Pay attention, because what I'm about to break down for you is the ultimate shield for your mind. Let me tell you about a guy named Mark. Mark was sharp, a high achiever, and low-key the most reliable person in his friend group. Then he met Sarah. Sarah had this incredible vibe. She was charming, funny, and seemed to have this elite-level confidence. But as they got closer, things started getting weird. It started small. Mark would mention a plan they made for Friday, and Sarah would look confused and say, "We never talked about Friday, Mark. You're always making things up in your head." At first, Mark brushed it off. Maybe he forgot. But then it happened again. And again. Sarah would say something hurtful, and when Mark called her out, she'd laugh and say, "You're way too sensitive, it was a joke. Why are you always trying to start a fight?" See, this is the first red flag. When someone makes you question your own memory or your own feelings, they aren't just forgetting. They are rewriting the script to make themselves the hero and you the villain. If you don't catch this early, you start losing your grip on what's real. This is why this tip is so essential for your survival in social circles. A master manipulator doesn't start with a big lie. They start with micro lies. They test your boundaries. They want to see if you'll accept their version of reality over your own. If you do, you've just handed them the keys to your brain. To be extra smart, you have to realize that your memory is your property. Don't let someone else squat in it. Mark started feeling like he was losing his mind. He began second-guessing everything. He'd check his phone logs, his texts, just to prove to himself that he wasn't crazy. But every time he tried to show Sarah the proof, she'd flip it. She'd say, "The fact that you're even checking your phone like that shows how insecure you are. You need help." Boom. That's the flip. They take your defensive move and use it as evidence that you're the problem. This is a pro-level manipulation move, and if you're not looking for it, it will destroy your self-esteem. You need to understand the aura of authority these people project. Sarah didn't just lie. She lied with absolute conviction. She sounded so sure of herself that Mark started thinking, well, she's so confident she must be right. This is where most people get played. We're programmed to believe confident people. But being extra smart means looking past the confidence and looking at the facts. If someone's story changes every time you talk to them but they stay loud and certain, they are high-key gaslighting you. You have to learn to trust your gut over their voice. If you feel that weird knot in your stomach when someone is talking to you, that's your subconscious telling you that the math isn't adding up. If you ignore that feeling, you're basically turning off your own security system. Let's look at the isolation phase. Sarah started telling Mark that his other friends were low-key talking behind his back. She'd say things like, "I'm the only one who actually stays loyal to you, Mark. Everyone else thinks you've changed." Now think about how smart this move is. By making Mark doubt his friends, she made him more dependent on her. She became his only source of truth. This is a massive red flag. A manipulator wants you in a vacuum where only their voice matters. If you're not careful, you'll end up alone, wondering why everyone hates you, when in reality, the only person hurting you is the one standing right in front of you. You have to keep your social circle strong to keep your perspective clear. Don't let anyone gatekeep your relationships. Now here is the secret cheat code to beating a gaslighter, the paper trail. Mark finally started getting smart. He realized that as long as it was his word against hers, he would lose because she was a better liar. So he started writing things down, not to show her, because a manipulator will never admit they're wrong, but for himself. He kept a private note on his phone. Monday, 2 p.m. Sarah agreed to help with the project. When Monday came and she denied it, Mark didn't argue. He just looked at his note. He felt a sudden rush of main character energy return. He didn't need her to admit the truth. He just needed to know the truth. This is a game changer. When you stop looking for the manipulator's approval, they lose all their power over you. You become untouchable. Why is this tip so vital for you? Because the moment you stop arguing with a gaslighter is the moment you win. See, they want the argument. They want you to get emotional, to cry, to shout. Why? Because then they can point at you and say, "See? You're unstable. You're the one who's crazy." It's a trap. Being extra smart means you don't play the game. You stay calm. You use that 4-second pause we talked about. When they lie, you just look at them. You don't try to fix them. You realize that their version of reality is a hallucination they're trying to sell you. You don't have to buy it. When you stop reacting, you keep your aura clean and your mind sharp. Think about the word salad. This is when a manipulator talks in circles for 20 minutes without actually saying anything. They use big words, they bring up things you did 3 years ago, and they jump from topic to topic. By the end of the conversation, you're so confused you don't even remember what the original point was. They do this to exhaust you. Mental exhaustion is their best friend. If you're too tired to think, you're easy to control. To counter this, you have to be high-key focused. Bring them back to the original point. We're not talking about 3 years ago, Sarah. We're talking about what you said 10 minutes ago. If they won't stick to the point, end the conversation. You don't owe them your time if they aren't going to be honest. This is about mental sovereignty. That's a fancy way of saying you are the king of your own mind. In the world of psychology, a gaslighter is like an invading army trying to take over your territory. They want to plant their flag in your memories and your emotions. If you let them, you'll spend the rest of your life feeling like an NPC in your own story. But when you recognize the signs, the denial of facts, the shifting of blame, the isolation, and the word salad, you can build a wall that no one can climb. You start to see them not as powerful masters, but as small, insecure people who are terrified of the truth. That shift in perspective is what makes you extra smart. Mark eventually walked away from Sarah. It wasn't easy. She tried every trick in the book to pull him back. She cried, she apologized, then she blamed him again. But Mark was done. He had his paper trail, he had his gut feeling, and he had his silence. He realized that he didn't need to win a fight with a manipulator. He just needed to leave the arena. When he did, his life changed. His confidence came back, his career took off, and his real friends welcomed him back with open arms. He realized that the Sarahs of the world only have power if you give them an audience. So look around you. Is there someone in your life who always makes you feel low-key crazy? Someone who tells you that your memories are wrong, or that your feelings don't matter? Pay attention to that. Don't ignore the red flags just because you like their vibe or their aura. True charisma doesn't require you to lose your mind. If you want to be the smartest person in the room, start by being the person who trusts themselves the most. This is your life, your story, and your reality. Don't let anyone else hold the pen. Master the ability to spot gaslighting, and you will become a person that no one can mess with. That is the ultimate power.